Let's get started with our first news story. Now, and it's an exciting one for MMA fans. Movsar Evloev, one of the top bantamweight contenders, is gearing up for what could be one of the biggest rematches of his career, a second showdown with current UFC bantamweight champion Sean O'Malley. And according to Movsar, he's expecting a very different version of Sugar Sean this time around. In their first fight, which was a thrilling and technical battle, Sean O'Malley started to find his rhythm late in the contest, particularly in the final round. That's when he landed a few clean strikes, including a sharp front body kick right up the middle. It was one of the few moments where O'Malley began to show signs of figuring Movsar out. Movsar hasn't forgotten that, and he fully expects Sean to build on it. "I think the first time he was waiting for me too much," Movsar explained during a recent interview. "I was measuring distance well, and every time we got close, I was able to take him down. He wasn't aggressive enough in the early rounds, but now, I think he will attack more. He will hit me. He'll be more aggressive, right?" Movsar believes that O'Malley is coming into this rematch with a different mindset, more confident, better prepared, and ready to take more risks. That front kick that landed in the 5th round, Movsar's already anticipating it. "I think he had some success in the 5th round," he continued. "Like, he touched my body. You know, he landed a good body kick, a front kick. Maybe he'll try that more. And I'm sure his cardio, like the first time when we fought, he made mistakes. I was better than him. Now he'll make adjustments. He'll fix those mistakes. He knows what I'm good at now. I'm sure he'll prepare more this time around." But Movsar isn't fazed. In fact, he's embracing the challenge. For him, this fight holds special significance. "In my professional career, this is my first official rematch," he shared. "Sure, I had rematches early in my career, back when I was fighting in Georgia under pro rules. But unfortunately, those 9 fights aren't on my official record. They don't count. I was so new to the game back then. I was still learning," he added with a smile. "Now, this is different. This is my first real rematch in the UFC, in my professional career at this level. To be honest, yeah, it means a lot." As both fighters gear up for their anticipated second meeting, fans can expect fireworks, with Sean O'Malley likely to come out swinging and Movsar preparing for a war. This rematch is shaping up to be one of the most intense battles in the bantamweight division this year. Stay tuned, this one's gonna be explosive. Now let's shift gears to another massive story that's making serious waves in the MMA world. Daniel Cormier, your former double champ and longtime rival of Jon Jones, recently shared his thoughts on what's next for Jon, and what he said has fans talking. According to DC, Jon Jones's ego won't let him retire without fighting Tom Aspinall. On the latest episode of Funky and the Champ with Ben Askren, Cormier dove deep into the psychology and legacy of Jon Jones. And let's just say it was eye-opening. This wasn't the usual fight breakdown. This was about what drives Jon, what he fears, and most importantly, what he cannot ignore. According to DC, Jon isn't someone who walks away simply to avoid injury or play it safe. He's not running from risk. In fact, Cormier says there's one thing that Jon values more than records or titles, and that's public perception. The idea that fans, fighters, or analysts might one day say that he dodged Tom Aspinall, that he retired to protect his legacy instead of defending it against the most dangerous rising contender in the sport. That, DC says, would eat Jon alive. He cares about how people talk about him, Cormier said. If the story becomes that he walked away because of Aspinall, not because of injury or age, it won't sit well with him. That's the kind of thing that will haunt him even in retirement. That's a powerful statement, and coming from someone who's shared the octagon with Jon multiple times, it holds weight. DC knows firsthand how competitive and prideful Jones is. He's not someone who lets challenges go unanswered, not if it threatens his status as the greatest ever. Cormier went on to say that Jon needs this fight, not just to silence doubters, but to prove to himself that he's still at the top of the mountain. He's already defeated a long list of legends. He's already cleaned out the light heavyweight division. He's captured the heavyweight belt, but there's still one name floating out there: Tom Aspinall, a name that people are calling the real threat, the true test, the guy who could end the Jones era. So if Jon truly believes he's the GOAT, if he's confident in his skills, in his strategy, in everything that's made him a champion, why not shut everyone up? That's exactly what Cormier is asking. In fact, DC even added that Jon might outclass Aspinall completely. He has the fight IQ, the championship experience, and the tools to neutralize someone like Tom. So what's stopping him? Well, here's where it gets complicated. Jon's recovery from injury is still uncertain. The UFC has decisions to make, and time is ticking. But one thing's for sure, this fight is looming, and if DC is right, Jon's own ego might be the thing that finally forces the showdown the fans are begging to see. Moving on to our next story, and it's a big one. Ariel Helwani has finally broken his silence on the current chaos surrounding the UFC featherweight title picture. And let's be honest, things are getting really messy. Fans, analysts, and fighters alike are all wondering, what's going on with the next title shot at 145, and who actually deserves it? Right now, most fans seem to agree on one thing. Movsar Evloev deserves the shot. The man is undefeated, and he's proven time and time again that he belongs at the top of the division. He's taken out top contenders, stayed active, and continues to level up with every fight. But in a surprising twist, a recent tweet from Movsar suggests that he may not be getting the next title fight after all, despite doing everything right, and that's what's frustrating a lot of hardcore fans. Instead, we're hearing whispers about a possible Yair Rodriguez versus Alexander Volkanovski rematch, and to put it bluntly, that's not the fight fans are asking for. Volk completely dominated Yair in their first meeting. It wasn't close, it wasn't competitive, and most people walked away from that bout feeling like there was no reason to run it back. That's where Ariel Helwani stepped in with a much more logical idea: have Yair Rodriguez fight Diego Lopes, and let Volk defend the title against Movsar Evloev. Simple, clean, sensible. It checks all the boxes, but the million-dollar question is, will the UFC actually do it? Let's take a moment to talk about Movsar Evloev. Sure, he doesn't have the flashiest style in the world. He's not walking to the cage with wild entrances or viral quotes, but what he does bring is pure technical dominance. The guy is flawless in the cage. He outclassed Diego Lopes, who many believed was a real threat to Volkanovski. He handled Arnold Allen and recently took out Aljamain Sterling, a former champion. He's done everything that should earn him a title shot, but he keeps getting passed over. No hype, no big promo packages, just cold, calculated wins. And now, when the featherweight belt is in flux, Movsar's name is barely part of the conversation. That's crazy. For real MMA fans, the ones who love the chess match side of the sport, a fight between Movsar and Volk would be fascinating. It's not just about flash, it's about legacy. And Volk, being the fighting champion he is, probably wouldn't mind. After all, Volk himself was once that underdog, the guy no one was hyping. Now, new reports are surfacing that Movsar might be facing Aaron Pico instead. But even that doesn't close the door on a potential Yair versus Lopes matchup. There's real tension between those two. There's history, and even though Diego just lost and Yair is only on a one-fight win streak, the drama makes the matchup worth considering. For now, all we can do is wait. Let's see how this all plays out. Now, for another major update in the heavyweight division, Tom Aspinall has made an announcement, but it's not the one fans were hoping for, and it stirred up quite a reaction. Earlier this week, Aspinall teased some big news on his Instagram with the cryptic caption, "Heavyweight news coming soon." Naturally, this sent fans into a frenzy. Many assumed the long-awaited confirmation of his next fight was finally here, possibly even a showdown with Jon Jones. Speculation exploded across social media. Was he going to unify the titles? Was Jones finally stepping up to face him? Could it be a fight date announcement? But when the announcement dropped, it turned out to be not a fight at all. Instead, Tom revealed a partnership with the fitness lifestyle brand Champion. In the promotional video, Aspinall delivered a strong message about what it truly means to be a champion. He spoke passionately about the daily grind, the sacrifices behind the scenes, and the importance of loyalty to family, team, and purpose. His quote, "Heavyweight Mars. It's not just fight night, it's every single moment before it. That's a champion," showed us a different, more introspective side of the interim champ. Still, many fans were disappointed. The anticipation for a real fight update, especially a potential clash with Jon Jones, had built expectations to a boiling point. The comment sections quickly filled with frustration and sarcasm. Some top reactions included, "Hope you never get that fight. Bro really let us down, and I was expecting the Jones fight announcement." One even joked, "Bro pulled a Jon." Tom didn't stay silent amid the backlash. He took to Instagram stories to clear the air, writing, "As I said when it was first posted, I do not announce my fight news." He also commented directly on TNT Sports' Instagram post about the promo. "Guys, it's not fight news." He wrapped it up with a simple but firm message. "I've said multiple times, this is not a fight announcement, wish it was." But perhaps the biggest piece of actual news came later. In a video posted to TikTok, Aspinall confirmed once and for all he will not defend the interim heavyweight title again. That's right, he made it clear that his next fight must be for the undisputed championship. In response to a fan question, "Are you willing to defend the interim title again if Jon doesn't sign the fight?" Tom answered with a direct no. "I'm fighting for the undisputed title next." So where does that leave things? Jon Jones is still recovering from injury, Stipe Miocic is still in the picture, and Aspinall is sitting at the top of the interim mountain, but refusing to take another step until it leads to the real belt. One thing's certain, Tom Aspinall knows what he wants, and he's not backing down. Now let's shift gears to something deeper, something more personal and raw. Recently, Daniel Cormier shared a powerful perspective that dives into the real fear he believes Jon Jones might be facing. And no, it's not just the fear of losing a fight, it's something even more haunting. DC believes Jon's biggest fear might be the visual, the image of himself getting knocked out cold, lying flat on his back, unconscious in front of the world. In a follow-up video on his YouTube channel, DC explained it clearly, saying, "You know what the big worry might be for him? It's the possibility of a real knockout, like legitimately knocked out, flat on his back, out cold. And I just don't know if he wants that image of himself out there in the world." That's a chilling statement, especially coming from a man like DC who has experienced that kind of loss. Who knows exactly what it feels like to see your defeated self plastered all over social media and replayed in highlight reels. It's not just about defeat, it's about legacy, about pride, about protecting the illusion of invincibility. Jon Jones has built an empire around dominance. He's viewed by many as the greatest fighter of all time, but one brutal knockout, one moment of vulnerability could shatter that image forever. That's the kind of thing that lingers in the minds of champions. And yet, despite all of that, Tom Aspinall remains confident. He's optimistic that the fight will happen, and he's not backing down from the challenge. Tom knows what he brings to the table, and more importantly, the fans know it too. The push from the MMA community is stronger than ever. People aren't just hoping this fight happens, they're demanding it. Speaking of demand, the Jon Jones petition has now reached a shocking milestone. As of this morning, the online petition to strip Jon Jones of the UFC heavyweight title has officially surpassed 110,000 signatures. That's right, over 100,000 fans have added their names, voicing their frustration and calling for action. And it's not slowing down. At this rate, the petition could hit 200,000 signatures by next week. That's not just a number, that's a movement. It raises a serious question. Will Dana White be forced to address it? Will he finally speak out in his next interview? Or will the UFC try to brush it off, pretending like it doesn't matter, hoping the noise will eventually fade away? One thing's for sure, this saga is far from over. The pressure is building, the fans are watching, and the Jon Jones versus Tom Aspinall conversation isn't going anywhere. In fact, it's only getting louder. Now let's wrap this up with one more massive storyline that's starting to pick up steam. Islam Makhachev versus Shavkat Rakhmonov. This potential super fight is gaining traction, and none other than Chael Sonnen has weighed in with a reaction that cuts deeper than most takes you'll hear online. Chael brought attention to something many fans are missing. If Islam gets past Jack Della Maddalena, which is no easy task, a fight with Shavkat Rakhmonov could turn into one of the biggest events in UFC history. Especially for Eurasian MMA fans. The stakes, they couldn't be higher. You're looking at two of the most dominant, disciplined, and well-rounded athletes in the entire sport. Let's break it down. Islam's legendary grappling control, suffocating pressure, and relentless pace against Shavkat's laser-sharp striking, elite-level composure, and well-timed pressure game. Both men are master tacticians, and both have looked virtually untouchable in their recent fights. You can't script matchups like this, they just happen. And when they do, they create moments that define legacies. Then there's the fanbase factor. Islam Makhachev is already a national icon in Dagestan and has an enormous following across the Caucasus region. Meanwhile, Shavkat is carrying the pride of an entire country on his back, Kazakhstan, and don't underestimate his appeal across Central Asia and Russia. Put these two in a main event and you're not just making a fight, you're making history. This would be, without exaggeration, the biggest all-Eurasian showdown the UFC has ever seen. But beyond the hype, there's a real narrative power here. If Islam moves up in weight, beats a striker like Jack Della Maddalena, and then challenges an undefeated welterweight beast like Shavkat, we're talking about an all-time great run. This isn't just a good matchup, it's legacy-level greatness in motion. It's the kind of risk champions take when they want to be remembered forever. And let's not forget, this fight isn't just about records or rankings, it's about styles, questions, and answers. Who dictates the pace? Can Islam take Shavkat down and hold him there? Can Shavkat stuff the shots and punish Islam on the feet? Who's got the better gas tank? Who cracks under pressure first? Every single exchange would be a test, and every second would have fans holding their breath. That's the magic of high-level MMA. But here's where it gets tricky. If Shavkat ends up fighting someone like Bilal Muhammad and loses, the moment is gone. The tension, the build-up, the perfect storyline, all wiped out. And a rematch between Islam and Bilal. Nobody's asking for that. So now we're at a crossroads. The UFC has a chance to make something truly special. Let's hope they don't miss it. Let's hope we get the right fight, the one fans deserve.